Erin Langford had built her empire with sleepless nights, unshakable determination, and a heart she kept locked like a vault. She was the youngest female CEO in her industry, a millionaire before 30, and the kind of woman people whispered about at events, not because she was ruthless, but because she was brilliant enough to make competitors nervous. On the night of the annual Aurora Charity Gala, she was dressed like power itself, silver silk, diamonds like frost, eyes sharp as polished glass. Cameras flashed as she walked in. Everyone wanted a piece of her success. Everyone wanted to be close enough to claim they understood her, even though few ever had, but beneath the glamour, she was tired. Not the kind money could soften, not the kind sleep could chase. The type that crept into her bones from years of pretending she didn't need anyone. Her business partner, ex-friend, really Michael, had shown her their quarterly numbers only hours before. Numbers that proved he'd been siphoning money. Betrayal wasn't new to Erin, but from him, it pierced deeper than she expected. She stood at the gala with a smile carved onto her face, pretending she wasn't falling apart inside, and then the room spun. At first she thought it was the wine, but she only had a sip. Her pulse throbbed unevenly. Voices blurred. Someone called her name. The chandelier lights fractured into stars, then the floor rushed up toward her. When she woke, her first thought was that she was dead. No marble floors, no champagne air, no sterile hospital room. Instead, she smelled oil, metal, and something warm, like freshly washed clothes drying in sunlight. She forced her eyes open. The ceiling above her was corrugated steel. Tools hung from hooks. A single fluorescent bulb flickered like it was struggling to stay alive. She lay on a narrow cot inside a mechanic's garage. Before she could panic, she felt a small, warm hand wrapped around her own. She turned her head. A little girl sat beside her, maybe 6 years old, curls like dark honey, cheeks smudged with grease as if she'd been playing near car parts. She smiled, gap-toothed and bright. "You're awake. Daddy said you were just sleeping but kinda broken." Erin blinked. Broken? The girl nodded seriously. People get broken sometimes. Daddy fixes people too. Not just cars. At that moment, footsteps approached. A man stepped into view, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a faded t-shirt and hands stained with work. His eyes were kind, surprisingly so for a stranger who found an unconscious millionaire on the brink of collapse. "You're okay," he said softly, as if he didn't want to scare her. "I'm Noah. My garage is next to the alley where you fainted. I didn't know who you were, so I brought you here. Hospitals around here take hours, and you didn't look like you had hours." Embarrassment burned in her chest. "I must have passed out." Noah nodded. "Your heart was racing. Probably stress." She hated how easily he said it, as if he could see right through the armor she built. The little girl tugged Erin's hand. "I'm Mia. Are you a princess? You look like the ones from movies." For the first time in years, Erin laughed. "A small one, but real." "No, sweetheart. I'm just someone who had a very long night." Mia beamed. "Daddy says long nights mean good mornings are coming." Erin's throat tightened. She tried to sit up, but dizziness washed over her. Noah gently steadied her, not touching her without permission, just offering his presence like an invisible support beam. "You pushed yourself too hard," he said. "Whatever world you came from, you need a break." A break. The word felt foreign, almost forbidden. Erin wasn't used to kindness without expectation. And she wasn't used to people who didn't know her name, but cared anyway. As Noah handed her a cup of water and Mia leaned against her side without hesitation, Erin realized something unsettling. The small, oil-stained garage felt safer than any mansion she'd ever stepped into, and she didn't know whether to run from that feeling, or cling to it with everything she had. Chapter 2. By the next morning, sunlight spilled through the garage like soft gold, warming the metal shelves and giving the dusty air a gentle glow. Erin stirred, feeling a dull ache behind her eyes but stronger than last night. She found Noah fixing an engine while Mia sat cross-legged beside him drawing on a scrap piece of cardboard. When Noah noticed her standing, he wiped his hands and approached with a smile that felt like a sunrise. "You look better." "Still pale, but better." Erin touched her temple. "I don't usually collapse in alleys. Most people don't." There was no judgment in his voice, just quiet concern, the kind people show when they've learned compassion through their own storms. As Erin tried to recall what had pushed her to the edge, Michael's betrayal resurfaced like a knife twisting inside her. The loss, the anger, the humiliation, it all flooded back. Her eyes stung, and she looked away quickly, pretending to examine a wrench on the wall. Noah noticed. "You don't have to tell me," he said, "but sometimes it helps." She hesitated. Aaron never trusted easily. But something in this garage, something in this man's steady presence, made her feel like her words wouldn't be weaponized against her. "My partner," she whispered. "Someone I trusted. He stole from the company. From me." Noah's jaw tightened slightly, but his eyes stayed soft. "That kind of hurt, it gets deeper than the bones." Aaron stared at him, surprised he understood the kind of pain she'd never said out loud. "Do you know what it's like?" she asked. He looked down at his hands. "My wife passed away 3 years ago. People I thought would be there disappeared the moment life got hard. All except her." He nodded toward Mia. "She kept me going." Mia looked up from her drawing and smiled proudly. "Daddy says I'm his brave engine. I keep the whole car running." "Yeah," Noah said quietly. "She does." Aaron felt something shift inside her, a softening she wasn't prepared for. This man, with his grease-stained shirt and gentle voice, had built a world of love in a space smaller than her office lounge. Over the next few hours, she helped clean around the garage while Mia chattered beside her. Aaron found herself smiling more than she had in months. The simplicity was healing in ways luxury never could be, but reality tugged at her. She couldn't stay hidden forever. Noah walked her to the door. "You should get checked at a clinic. And maybe, take a few days off." "That's not how my world works," Aaron said softly. "Then maybe your world needs fixing more than my cars do." She inhaled, touched by his unexpected wisdom. Mia ran up and hugged her tightly around the waist. "Come back. You look lonely. Daddy says people who look lonely need friends." Aaron knelt and hugged her back. The warmth of that small embrace seeped into the cracks she'd been ignoring for too long. "I'll come back," Aaron whispered, and she meant it. When she finally stepped out into the sunlight, she felt different, not healed, not whole, but no longer drowning. She began walking back toward the city she had built her life around, knowing she had a choice to make: return to her cold empire unchanged, or rebuild herself with the strength she'd found in a forgotten garage and the people who had shown her what real connection felt like. For the first time in years, she didn't feel alone, and she wasn't sure what frightened her more, the fall that brought her here, or the possibility that this unexpected, unpolished place might be exactly where she was meant to rise again.